Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and on my right-hand side is my right-hand man, Gabriel.
Hi.
And today on Rock Metal Podcast, we have Thomas Crane, who is a musician turned filmmaker and has a film company called KILLDEVIL Films. And today we're going to chat about, I believe, music videos specifically, but we're going to chat about Thomas's expertise, his wisdom, his insights, smoking cloves. Who knows what else we'll chat about today?
Maybe iMovie.
Maybe iMovie.
Which is the program we use to edit our videos.
That's right, baby. So, Thomas, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and I've been looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. Now, I guess as a basic question, just to suit my own level of humility and humbleness, how did you find out about my little program? Because you wrote to me one day and said, I'd love to be on your show, and I thought, that's flattering.
Well, I work with a lot of bands, and and after I work with them, I follow them, and I believe you had somebody on that I'd worked with or something, and they had posted, hey, I've made an appearance, so check the show out, and then I watched a bunch of other ones. Him and I were just talking about that, and so I liked the show from all the ones I had seen, so it just seemed like it'd be fun to chat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Plus, he's actually watched some of our latest ones.
Ooh.
Which has the theme song.
Ooh.
The new theme song.
Yeah, the new theme song, baby. All right, what are the thoughts on the theme song? Because Gabriel actually put that together.
I like it. Like, he like programmed it and stuff?
It came straight from the Apple Loops. Plus, we have a forbidden part, though, that did involve some recording. I just put a little drum.
You made a good choice. I like it.
Sweet. Yeah, from my understanding, because I mixed it and mastered it for the show, it was some Apple Loops that came up in the Live Loops library on Logic.
And then I also decided to throw in like I can't just make it all Apple Loops like that's probably to be a little too robotic.
I did see some MIDI in there, so I think he had programmed a couple of things, but for the most,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
they got some cool loops in there. I've used like GarageBand and things like that, so like that's not quite as good as Logic, but I know they've got some cool stuff to experiment with.
Yeah, Logic has like track stacks. You might like that.
Ooh, track stacks.
Yeah, plus it also has like buses.
Now that brings up a kind of a quick question: is when you're making films and you need little knickknacks of soundtrack bites and things, and you are obviously using Apple, do you dive into some of the loops and things that they have available?
Occasionally, yeah. I pretty much take a all the above approach. I'll see what they got, and then if I don't find something that I like, I can, there's like Pond 5 and Audio Jungle. Like I kind of go everywhere looking for little, you know how it is when you're editing. Sometimes you just need like I need just something here that's small, 5 seconds, and so.
Exactly.
Kind of like a title cards in our like text.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Little things like that. And if you find the right sound, it really helps. Like, sound is a very underappreciated part of videos, whether it's a movie or just like a short internet video. Like, the sound punctuates what you're doing visually. So,
yeah,
it's under.
It is. You imagine a kung fu movie from 1978 without any shoe clapping or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be fun to watch.
Let's like the modern kung fu movies.
Modern kung fu movies.
Which have like all these impacts and slow-mos. Like everything you want in a kung fu movie.
This is true. In the late 70s, they just had to do it, the fight scene in slow motion. They didn't have that ability. That was real talent back then. Now, I guess let's start small. So, KILLDEVIL Films, work with some bands, making some music videos. Obviously, found me. You're liking what I do, which is cool. I dig it. But take us through I guess what goes, I mean, it's kind of like a really basic question. Maybe this will be like the 20-minute question, but how did you get into making music videos for bands? And then tantamount to that, we're going to get into, you know, I don't know, any thoughts you have on that? Other bands that you see doing it who aren't doing a good job, and it's not just because you're not doing it. They're legitimately doing something wrong. And I've heard that before from other music video directors. So I'm curious, you know, to hear more about you, Thomas, hear more about Kill Devil Films, and then we can start getting into some of that nitty gritty, you know, that clickbait. Don't do this when making a music video.
Well, it was actually happenstance, really. I never went to school for like video production or anything like that. I took one class in high school. It was like a news channel class, so I knew how to edit very basic, like iMovie level type. That was like kind of all I knew. And then like 10 years after that, I was in a band. I was in my own band at the time, and we had this is like YouTube was coming out, and it was like, hey, let's shoot a video ourselves. You know, we had a friend who had a nice camera, and we borrowed it. And I had no idea what I was doing. I'll say that right now. I knew nothing about lighting or like shot construction, and I knew how to edit a little bit. That's all I knew. So we did our video, and it was what it was. I won't really show that video to anybody. And then we did another one months later, and then another one a few months later, and I just got a little better at it. Mm-hmm. You know, the old adage is, you know, just go do it, and you'll learn a little bit. And then over time, I kind of picked it up, and other bands in town occasionally would say, hey, will you do one for us? And I'd be like, sure. So, I mean, this is over the course of like 5 years. I was just doing like 2 videos a year. It was very much a hobby. And at some point in time, I just got to a point where I was better. And I was like, you know, I kind of like doing this. I'd like to do it full time. And eventually I was able to do that. It was hard at first because as a freelancer, you know, not a lot of people know who you are, and you know, you have to kind of make a name for yourself. You have to get as many gigs as you can. Plus, you got to pay your bills. So it took some time to get established, I'd say, and. But after a while, I mean, since 2018, I've been doing about 25 to 30 videos a year. So it kind of picks up its own steam after a while. Just trying to do the best job I can. So, you know, others see your work. Bands come back. Like there's several bands I've done 3-4 videos for. You know, whenever they need a video, they just come back. You know, so it kind of picks up its own steam after a while, which that's cool. To see like the work you've put in kind of pay off. But yeah, it was totally happenstance. 5 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be just doing videos for a living. Did I answer that question?
You did. For some reason I was expecting like a wedding singer story in there somewhere. I mean, when I think of freelance picking up a camcorder and going out to shoot things, I imagine how did you avoid the trap of come and film my wedding, come and film my bar mitzvah? How did you, or do you still do that? Like, you're like, no, man, you got to do that if you want to make a living in this.
It's funny. I've never actually filmed a wedding, but I have other videographers who I would consider friends who film weddings, and they have sent me their footage to edit. Mm-hmm. So I have edited wedding videos. And the thing about wedding videos, I just have no interest in doing it. It's good money. I would probably definitely make more money if I did that, but I don't. One appeal to doing this was it was something I wanted to do. I enjoyed doing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to like go film a bunch of stuff that I hate, you know?
Right.
I occasionally will get a quote unquote more corporate type commercial gig. And, those are okay to do like occasionally. I wouldn't want to do those like all the time because they're not very like artistic. It's very straightforward. Funny enough, it's actually easier, less work than music videos are. But I wouldn't want to do that all the time. But just occasionally, it's okay.
Yeah, because a corporate video would be like, this is a bowl. You're going to need this bowl because this bowl can hold things that you might want to eat.
Yeah, and it's funny how much less work it is to do that stuff because it's just very much show our product off. You don't have to get crazy with the lighting and, you know, get crazy with the shots, and the editing takes way less time, you know, so.
Yeah.
But occasionally those are okay.
Yeah, no screaming into any light bulbs and no being any jet hangers and...
Yeah. Yeah, no trespassing into abandoned properties and avoiding police and getting kicked out and, you know, things like that. Done plenty of those.
Exactly, baby. Now, going from freelance to full-time, for a lot of people out there who are listening in who are thinking, man, I would love to go from freelance to full-time in my own video career as well. It sounds like, you said, was it 25 to 30 films a year? I mean, that sounds really doable.
Yeah. I had to like build to that. I think my first 6 to 10 months, you know, it wasn't quite that many. I can't remember how many it was. It was a struggle the first year for sure. It's actually a funny story. How I transitioned to full time. If you want to hear it.
I would love to hear it. I'm a freelance podcaster, baby. I'd love to hear your story.
Okay, so I was getting better at videos, and I wasn't quite doing 25, 30 a year, but I was doing a decent amount, and I was like, man, I really want to do this full time. I enjoy doing it. So I had like a bank job at the time in a cubicle, hated it. So I made this plan in my head. I'm like, okay, 6 months from now, I want to like be in a position to go full time, you know? And then literally like 3 weeks after that, I got fired from my job and just out of nowhere let go. So I was kind of at a crossroads, like, do I go find another stable job or do I just go for it, you know? And I'll be honest, like I wasn't like ready. I wasn't good enough. I didn't have enough income business to do it full time, but I just made the jump. It's funny when, you know, you have to, what that like drive will do to you, you know, when you have to get it done or, so it was a chaotic time. I came out okay. So, but I think, even in my instance or anybody else, if you got to make a jump at some point. You know, I had made a plan to do it in 6 months, but it got fast tracked. So it all worked out. So I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate on that angle. Yeah, it worked out.
Absolutely. Now, one of the big sexy clickbait things we can chat about is, yes, got to get the clickbait in there.
Sweet.
Yeah, pitfalls in making your own music videos, or even from hiring a videographer who isn't that good. I don't even know how to ask that question other than what are some pitfalls, or how do you go about making a good music video? How would you tailor your answer to, you know, something like that?
Yeah, no problem. As a band, you're going to get out of your video what you put into it. You know, and some of this stuff will seem funny and basic, but you'd be surprised what I've seen. You know, put some time into the concept. Every videographer is different, I guess, but talk with them and come up with a concept that fits your song. If your video, like you're telling a story, if it needs props or costuming, get it. You know, you'd be surprised what you can find at the thrift store for $5. Put the time in, you know. This is funny too. Take the day off work. You're spending money on a videographer. Take it seriously, you know. I've had not many. I mean, most of my shoots are pretty smooth, but I've had instances where like the bass player's been there for an hour and now he's got to leave and go to work. So he's in a few shots, but then the rest of the video is just not even in it. Don't do that. Take the day off work.
I like that it's the bass player because well, you've heard my show a few times. I make the bass player jokes, right? So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta make the bass.
Yeah, not surprised it was the bass player who didn't take the day off of work. At least he's employed. We'll go that far.
I guess. I mean, that's. I guess. What else? Again, this hasn't happened often, but just stay when it's your turn to shoot. Be ready to shoot, and don't be in the car smoking a J. Just typical band stuff. It's your video shoot. Put some effort into it. You're spending money, and it's going to be, your video for a band is like your business card almost. Mm-hmm. It encapsulates your band, your sound, obviously, what you look like, so take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Those are, know the song. That usually helps. Just take it seriously. I'm very fortunate, I guess. Like I don't really have too many horror stories. Mm-hmm. I've got a few. I've done a lot. So 97% are very smooth and easy to work with. I only get a situation every so often, not very often.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that other 3% is like we have to edit a Zoom call.
Yeah. Don't forget your gear to the shoot. I've had drummers forget their, kick drum, or I left my guitar at the house. Just basic stuff like that. Try and stay organized too. If you have props and stuff like that, make a list. Have a schedule. Have a group chat where everyone is in the chat. Everyone has the information. It's just basic stuff.
Yeah. Who's bringing the sandwiches?
Very important. Sandwiches and water.
Yeah.
Who's going to be eating?
That's right.
Yeah. Definitely stay hydrated because you're going to be doing the song about 50 times. So
exactly.
It's going to be a 2-hour group chat. Who has the sandwiches for us?
Who has the sandwiches? 2-hour group chat. Yeah. True story. I was in a band 15 years ago. We did a music video, and oddly enough, I forgot my guitar. So we had to run over to somebody's house and go get a guitar that I would never play with. And so the music video was shot with this Kerry King weird, could stab somebody in the eye kind of guitar. And it ended up working out. So that was kind of like a cool story, I guess, to go with it. But definitely it was a kink in our music video shoot at the time.
It happens.
It does happen. Thomas, Mr. Crane. Okay, so we chatted about how you started your company. We chatted about, I have a question of what you do, but you kind of already did that. You film stuff and you edit stuff. Pitfalls that you see bands doing in making their own videos or just hiring a videographer, which is, I think the pitfall of any musician is not taking it seriously and not knowing how to take it seriously. And that can just stem from anything in their music career. Things that you mentioned there. What to look for in a videographer? That's something I think we were going to chat about. Why would I hire you, I guess, is the question. Just because we get along, you get my song. I'm so absorbed in my musicianship. I'm like, Thomas gets me. He understands my message for humanity.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like any other thing. Look at their work. If they have kind of an eye for things that you like the way they approach a project, not just the way they shoot it, that's part of it, but how they edit and each video has a vibe. So if you like the vibe that, and the storytelling, chat with them. And if it seems like, you trust someone to take your ideas and whatever your concept is, it's really that simple. Hiring a videographer is important, and there does need to be trust there. Because I guess as a musician, I get it. Like, you've been working on this song, you wrote this song, you recorded it, you spent all this time, and it's your baby. So you definitely want to find someone you can trust to visually represent it. So, you know, have a discussion and bounce some ideas back and forth. And if you like kind of where it's going, go with them. And I guess bands are different. Videos are different. I've had projects where bands had it all scripted out completely. And they were still open to my ideas, but they had a pretty detailed script. And there's sometimes they'll have a basic concept, and they'll say run with it. And you know, throw my ideas, we bounce back and forth. It's usually a pretty fun collaborative process because when you're done, you made this thing together. And everyone kind of had their input. That's how I work. I really can't speak for other videographers because I haven't really hired a videographer for my own band or anything like that before, so I can just approach it from me. It's definitely good to find someone who just kind of, use the word gets you, but kind of understands where you're coming from. That is important.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, because I'm just thinking myself right now to put myself in the position of somebody who's, I don't know, just written a song, has an EP, has an album, something, and now comes, you know, I don't know, word down from the record label. These are your 3 singles, good to work, you know, here's your budget, maybe even. That still kind of happens sometimes with bigger labels. A lot of times it freaking doesn't. I have been quite surprised to have a band on who's got, you know, a 25+ year career, and they're like, yeah, we put a GoPro on my head and went around my neighborhood and we just edited it because there was no budget.
Yeah, these days, it's definitely more common these days too.
Yeah, you know, but to sit here and say, okay, we wrote this song, now we have to get the business card for it. Now we have to visually represent this song. Does anybody have any ideas? And I just kind of would almost want to just have that pitch and catch with somebody to be able to say, hey, listen to the song. What do you think we should do? And then, you know, if the person's okay with that, then great. I could see somebody being like, I don't want to come up with an idea for your video. You should have an idea. But I think me personally, it'd be like, well, this is your expertise. You've been in the industry for X amount of time. You've done so many videos. You know,
done like 15 billion videos.
Yeah, 15 billion videos, and you know, there's I don't want to say there's a science to making a successful music video, but you're probably more keen on what gets the views and watches all the way through the video outside of the song than say I would, because that's not where I live. I live in, you know, the musician land. So
yeah. And the approach you said is how most people are. They're like, well, this is what he does. You know, I'll kind of let him take the reins a little bit. You know, usually with videos, kind of all I need is like just a starting point, you know, a direction to go in. I always compare it to being a tattoo artist. You know, you go to a tattoo artist, I want this, but take this and do whatever you want with it, kind of a thing. Yeah. And been doing this so long, I don't know how many videos I've done, 115 or something. I kind of know pretty quickly what's going to work on camera, or if we're on set. Like, I got an idea of like how long is that going to take to pull off, or is this idea going to work? But a lot of times there's a lot of what's the word, improvisation too when you're shooting. So sometimes it'll be like, hey, let's try the idea. We're here, and if it sucks, I'll know when I go to edit this thing not to use it. But so gotta have some flexibility. But yeah, generally speaking, I've got a pretty good idea. Like sometimes if you have a concept, like a story, and then they have the band shots, like I'll know if in my head if they're going to match cutting back and forth, you know, if the shots are going to gel. Usually.
Yeah. Nickelback videos came to mind for some reason.
I haven't watched a Nickelback video in a while.
That was in those times where everybody, like the slow motion 3D thing was like, you know, popular. So that everyone had like a car accident where somebody was dying, but of course the car accident was in slow motion and things were happening and cheeks were fluttering and glass was flying in the air.
it's interesting. I go back and watch old music videos all the time. Not just because I love older music, but it's just so interesting to see, especially like the 80s and the 90s. There's some really terrible music videos. I think it was because the music video industry, there really wasn't an industry. There really weren't people who that's all they did. So I feel like they hired out like regular video companies who did like commercials to do their video, not someone who's like, all I do is music videos, so the videos come. They're some of their creative choices were interesting. I'll just put it that way.
Yes,
but it's definitely evolved now over the last 15 years or whatever. That there's some really good videos out there and some really good video directors putting out some good stuff. And I think I know MTV doesn't play music videos anymore, but like YouTube and social media has made them super important. You know. Something people can see quickly, and so
yeah, cool. All right, last question, basic question, because I remember being at a music industry chat, if you even want to call it that, about 20 years ago when the internet was a baby, and the question came up, I'm a band, should we make a music video? And there was a big debate about it. And even 20 years ago, I thought, of course you should. Why shouldn't you? You might not have, at the time, 20 years ago, we're talking about the year 2000. I don't even know if MTV was really even still relevant in the music videos at that point. I have to think back hard enough. But even if you couldn't get it onto a channel like VH1 or MTV, you could at the very least, even at that time, put it up on YouTube. So I guess my question then is, how crucial is it, especially in the day of lyric videos and budget cuts, how important is it to have music videos for your set?
Well, as someone who is in this industry, it is the most important thing you could ever do. No, I mean, I think these days, and not just speaking as a videographer, it's very important. Like I said a minute ago, like social media has turned us all, including myself, into a very instant gratification culture, So, we want to instantly see everything, on our phones when we're scrolling our feed. So right there, you got a professional looking video. It looks good. And if it's well done, you're probably going to watch it again. Mm-hmm. And, it's like subconsciously going to drive the people to go to your shows and buy your merch. Oh God, I had a good thought and I lost it.
Don't do that, Thomas.
One second.
The train's coming again. Don't worry. You lost that train of thought, but another train of thought's coming.
I need more coffee.
That's right.
But also, oh my God, I lost it. It'll come back.
Don't lose it, Mr. Crane.
I'm gonna be cutting this part out.
I'm awake during the day, so this is a new thing for me.
Okay.
Usually I'm a night owl, so I'm still getting acclimated to daylight.
Correct.
But no. And also these days, just having content is important. I know a lot. Okay, I know what I was saying. So this is, as I was still transitioning from doing this full time, I understood as a band, we stopped doing full-length albums because they just weren't selling as well. So the strategy kind of shifted to doing like a single singles or EPs. So instead of spending our money on a big album, promote one, take a song, a single or whatever, and do a video for it and really push it hard. And we found a lot more success that way. And it came to a point now, whether it was my old band, we're still together, or my solo stuff, I don't put anything out without a video with it. And I don't know, it kind of focusing the strategy on one, for at least as an independent artist without a lot of funds, had a better payoff than, spending all of our money on 12 songs and, not getting it. So,
yeah. All right, Mr. Crane. Gabe has a drum lesson in 10 minutes, so we're going to close this up.
Knock 'em dead, buddy.
It was fun chatting with you about like iMovie though.
Likewise. He's sharp. I told him he was good. He's getting started at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting into it. In like 10 years, you're going to blow us all away.
Good job, kiddo. Yeah, this guy's been watching your edit cuts and your titles and everything else. So,
well, thank you for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we chatted about becoming a videographer, how you started, what you do, what that looks like going full time, how many videos a year. We talked about pitfalls and making your own music videos, choosing a videographer. Did we chat about pizza? We chatted about iMovie,
No,
Logic
we didn't
Pro.
chat about pizza, unfortunately.
Okay, how you ended up finding my little program and that you enjoy it, so that makes me feel good on the inside. And what else is there? Oh, yeah. You got to get to your drum lesson. So, Thomas, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Anytime. Thank you for having me, and much appreciated.